Welcome to Through the Eyes of a Maine Guide. Every journey holds a story. By sharing the wisdom of those who came before us, we keep their legacy alive for generations to come. Join me, Brendan Lane, as we explore the wild through the eyes of a Maine Guide. Welcome back to another episode of Through the Eyes of a Maine Guide with your host, Brendan Lane. And today is a special guest. We got Mr. Chris Richards, good friend.
Yeah.
Come down from Bangor, right?
Herman, technically.
Come down to Herman, and we're here today in Grand Lake Stream at a good friend Paul Laney's place, Grand Lake Lodge. And
it's stunningly beautiful. If I'm not looking at you or paying attention, it's because I'm looking out across this lake at these boats. It's gorgeous.
It really is. Like we're right here at the water. I mean, it's a beautiful view. And today we're going to talk a little bit about what makes a moose hunt successful.
Yeah.
And just because you hire a guide don't mean you're going to have a successful hunt. Your guide's only as good as the client.
That's right. So my favorite topic. So I appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you asking to come down and and be a part of this. And just to start off, Chris, give us a little bit of background about you, sir.
Yeah.
Listening to know.
So my name's Chris Richards. I'm originally from Dixfield, Maine, over in the western part of the state. I would say I'm a proud Milltown kid. My grandfather retired from the paper mill. My dad retired from the paper mill. My uncle, my cousins worked there, etc. And grew up in a hunting family and on all sides. I think it's always funny when you hear people talk about how they get into hunting and you hear oh, I learned it later in life. Everyone has a different story. I don't know what it is not to hunt. Everyone, father, mom's side, grandparents, everyone hunted. And grew up with a lot of influences in how I became a guide. Family members that were guides, and 12 years ago got my guide's license as kind of a side hustle. I actually work at the University of Maine as my regular gig, so I do this guiding on the side, but I love it. I'm passionate about it, and the moose hunt particularly is my preferred genre, if you will, of guiding, and the countdown's on. We're only 7 weeks away, I think, something like that, from September season. So the countdown's on. And so it's fun to get on here and really talk about this. And, we'll see where it goes.
Wait. So I got to interrupt you a little bit there because you're being a little bit too modest.
Yeah.
So you talk about how guiding is just not a hobby, but something that you do there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're also the treasurer
yes.
of the Maine Professional Guides Association.
Yeah, so I'm the treasurer of the Maine Professional Guides Association. Took over that position a couple of years ago from our prior treasurer who had done it, I don't know, forever. And, I had jumped on the board and we kind of joked that I guess no good work goes unpunished. And so I got a call from a meeting from you, actually. And it was, am I talking to our new treasurer? And I was like, I feel like a vote's going to go a certain way, whether I want it to or not. And so we've been doing that, which has been a wonderfully fulfilling opportunity for me. And then just recently also got voted in as the treasurer of the Maine Guide Education Fund, which is a really excellent, nonprofit that really is focused on kids in the outdoors and summer camp. And so a great passion of mine, and it really is part of my mainstream career, is getting the opportunity to use my time and my energy and whatever to be a part of promoting things or helping preserve things or helping people in a way that's kind of larger than me, being a part of something bigger. So using my time to support the guiding industry, preservation of these traditions, what we love to do, ensuring that we're providing those opportunities to the next generation, all of that. And, that's a big part of who I am. And it's kind of why I work in college admissions and that type of thing. And so I didn't necessarily know that guiding was going to take me in that,
direction.
You know, I had such a passion for moose hunting and being in the outdoors, and my Uncle John was a huge influence on my life. That's why I became a guide, but it's kind of morphed into its own. It's hard to call it a side hustle because it is significant.
I'm going to interrupt you there again. Like, we're here to talk about moose.
Yeah.
Like, what makes people successful.
Yeah.
You pointed out that you're the treasurer of the Guides Association.
Yes.
You're the treasurer of the Maine Guides Education Fund.
Yes.
But the one thing we're here to talk about is one thing that you left out.
Yes.
You are also the acting chair
Of the Moose Committee.
Moose Committee
For the Maine.
Association.
Yep. I'm the chair of the Moose Committee for the Maine Professional Guides Association, and which is a wonderful committee.
I mean, you're too modest. Like,
I appreciate that.
You're in.
My wife might not agree.
Well, I can fill her in later how to get it out of you if she wants.
Yeah, no. Be sure to tell her. He's too modest.
But no, I mean, as far like for the Moose Committee, there.
Yeah.
For a lot of people listening that don't understand, like the Maine Professional Guides Association, we have committees for moose, we have committees for deer, waterfowl, fish,
trail
bear,
access,
and
recreation.
And
a lot of people don't know that.
We're all split up and we're diversified against all these different things there. Well, like your task as the Moose Committee chair, you're the one that sets up these meetings with the department. You're the one, which by department I mean IF&W.
Right.
You're the one that organizes the meetings between the Moose Committee.
Yep.
And
Just schedule one today.
Yeah, and like right now, literally, like of all of our committees,
yes,
the
most
Moose
active.
Committee has been the most active for the last couple of years, and like the importance going forward is the moose.
And without question, and I would say, and rightfully so, if you think Maine and the outdoors, I mean, people think moose, loons, and lobster. You know what I'm saying? Like those are things people think about, and so it's not lost on me that the awesome responsibility of that position as chair of that committee within the Maine Professional Guides Association of kind of representing the guiding industry and engaging with the Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife and how it providing feedback of moose management or challenges with the hunt. But it's not just that. It's also, in my opinion, changing over time. And it's been a refreshing perspective that I've witnessed, shift within maybe the board or the associate, whatever, is the reality that the recreational guides and hunting guides are not adversaries. They're not. Everyone wants there to be robust populations of healthy moose in Maine. Everyone. I don't care if you are a guide that does moose safari viewing tours or you run canoe trips on the Allagash, and moose viewing is a key part of that. Like I know that's a major part of your summer business.
Yep.
Or if you love hunting and, pursuing them as a game species, everyone wants there to be sustainability of moose in Maine. And it's, MPGA is a major entity in working with our biologists and working with the department to ensure that we want them here forever. They face challenges, and I think we're learning things every year. Hindsight's always 2020, but in terms of reflecting on population densities and maybe not knowing what we had in the 90s and all these things, and it's wonderful to see us be a conduit as an association between end user, recreationalists, people of the state, and tourism, all of that. We really kind of bring through the committee that whole perspective and communication with the department that's in charge of, making sure there's plenty of critters around, I guess. And, I love it. And then I love hunting them.
Hey guys, shout out to Northwoods Outdoor Supply, proud sponsor of Through the Eyes of a Maine Guides podcast. If you guys find yourself in Aroostook County and need any ammunition, firearms, fishing supplies, or any outdoor supplies in general, swing in and see what they have. They have a large variety of firearms, ammunition, ice fishing supplies, regular fishing supplies, and just outdoor supplies in general. stop in and talk to Brandon. If you don't have it, I'm sure he can get it for you. They're located right in the Martin's Plaza next to Martin's and Tractor Supply. So make sure you stop in and show your support and say hi. You said something that I kind of want to hit on a little
Yeah.
bit. Is a lot of people think that the only people that care about the moose and the loons and the lobsters and the deer and that stuff are your recreational users.
Right.
Well, us as guides, we care just as much, if not more, about the moose species being here because if the moose aren't here, we don't have a huntable population.
Right.
That's like for me, that's a good part of my business that's gone.
Yes.
That's your
Yeah.
hobby, as you call it, or whatever. You know, it's something that you look forward to them 3 weeks a year. You look forward to every year
Yes.
of doing that. That's what you enjoy, and that's your cabin fever reliever or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
you know, from your everyday, you know, life job. We're the last ones,
Right.
as outdoor enthusiasts, as guides, as hunters that want to see anything happen.
Right.
I mean, and nowadays, like where this has all come, it's easy to sit behind a computer and type things on a keyboard and be a keyboard biologist. I mean, I see it last night. I shared a post last night.
I
that
saw.
I left everything out of. I just shared a post. And there's a lot of people out there that think just because they drive down the road and they ain't seeing 20 or 30 moose,
Right.
that there ain't moose here.
Correct.
Well, I'll argue with a lot of people till I'm blue in the face. I found 273 moose sheds this spring in Zone 1.
Oh, yeah.
So out of them, I bet 40, maybe 30 sets were matches. The rest were all individuals.
Right. So how many moose is that on the landscape? We think about that.
And out of that, 75% of them are browns. Mm-hmm. You know, so those are this year's sheds. Like,
Right.
it's no different than I can remember, and I'm sure you do too, when the turkey hunt started.
Yes.
When the turkey hunt started, you could drive down the road, get out of your truck, and walk in the field, and the turkeys might just scoot in the edge of the woods.
Right.
Well, moose are no different. When we started hunting back in the 80s, and I know we've had numerous conversations.
Oh, we've had
about
numerous
this,
conversations.
That's when the budworm first come about. We had the
We
clear
clear
cut,
cut northern Maine.
and all the feed was there. Well,
Right.
people are driving around. The first time these moose, outside of poachers, have ever seen a gunshot or a humans, they haven't witnessed it.
Correct.
Well, you're only going to shoot at something so many times and get out of the truck so many times before they're going to smarten up and realize that we need to go back in the woods.
Right.
I mean, you go anywhere and you get, I mean, I'm in the woods 300 days a year, 365 days minimum. And anywhere I can go in the woods, I guarantee within 5 minutes, I can show you moose tracks.
Yes.
I can show you moose droppings. I can show you moose sign. I can show you fall activity. I can show you winter activity.
It won't even take 5 minutes.
And it's there.
Yes.
But you're not seeing them driving down the roads.
And I would say something, this will be a hot take. And
This whole conversation
This'll-
topic is
this-
very hot.
this
but-
will ruffle some feathers. I hear a lot of people that reference, I remember driving down this road in this year and seeing 17 moose. Okay. And, you know, a big thing we talk about now is winter tick, overpopulation of moose, driving parasite populations, and therefore leading to increased mortality of moose. That's a big, you know, it's a simple predator prey type relationship. My undergraduate work was in biology. That's an inconvenient thing for some people sometimes when we talk about this. But I'm going to say something that, you know, I've never really necessarily said publicly, but I find a lot of that conversation to actually be quite selfish. And I'm going to say why. A lot of things reference, people remember an overpopulation of moose that is on the verge of decimation by winter tick. Like they remember that romantically, and I get why. Don't get me wrong. I can remember it being, you wouldn't drive from the Forks to Jackman at night. It was dangerous, like truly. I can remember doing that. I worked concrete up there one summer, paying my way through school, no joke. And I can remember, I can't even count how many near collisions I almost had with moose in the road. And we really do remember something that actually was about to become a massive, massive problem. And the reality was the hunt wasn't at a volume that was controlling the population. And so Mother Nature steps in to control the herd. And how does she do that? Predation, disease, starvation. That's what happens. There's so much food on the landscape. And so you have the perfect situation for winter tick to thrive, and that's what happened. And so you had a massive die off, and
The winters we have, and I haven't been the winters we normally have had.
and it's interesting. My perspective on that is, I think that's a wild card because, and I don't know what you're seeing. I'm referencing like around our family camp in Zone 8. That the mild winter is almost a two-edged sword.
Yep.
Because it oftentimes means increased moose survival, but it also usually means increased tick survival too.
Exactly. I remember it was this spring. I was guiding shed hunts at the time, and like for people that don't know, listen in. I mean, 30, 35 days straight. I'm in the woods 7 days a week for the whole time. I mean, shed hunting, like guiding for that. And you went to your camp, and I remember you calling me up like, Brent, I see 2 or 3 dead moose on the way into camp, and the moose, and I'm like, yeah. And you're like, you're not really surprised by that? I'm like, at the time, I'm like, Chris, I found almost, it was like 70 moose. Yeah. I mean, altogether, I found over 100 dead cows and calves this year from ticks.
Right, all tick.
In Zone 1. Like this year, I did not leave Zone 1 at all. I didn't go to Zone 2, 4, or 5 like I normally do. I stayed in Zone 1. And there was just, I mean, you're finding them, and they're not just calves. You're talking 2, 3, what would be 3-year-old cows. And one of the bulls you found was crotchhorn?
Yeah, so crotchhorn bull.
Talking about a 2.5-year-old.
Yep, it was a decent sized moose. The thing was though, saw 9 alive.
Yeah,
on the same ride.
Yeah, and
so I kind of joked. I talked to my father about it. I said, "How many do you need to see?" Well, I mean, I drove into camp, and it's not exactly a secret road, and you see 9 moose over here, and as I said, I understand that people see a shift in. You have a shift in behavior. You have the shift in moose population. You have a shift in forestry practice. Yep. All of these things just lead to them being a slightly, harder to see species. But that being said, there's a lot of moose.
There is, and I can't speak for all the zones, but for Zone 1, that's my backyard. I'm in that. I mean, we've never had an issue completing a hunt or fulfilling a tag in Zone 1.
Correct. Like,
the moose are there. You got to get out and you got to work for them a little bit more. Yep. Them days of driving around the roads, them are over. But you think about it, back in the 80s, when the spruce bud weren't come around, they had all these clear cuts. A couple years later, they all grew up with beautiful food, and they were filled with food.
Right.
And so the moose population come in there.
Yeah, a perfect formula for it.
They thrived, and they were used to coming to them cuts. Well, then people started shooting in them cuts. Well, probably 25% of the animals that are shot at are actually harvested. The other 75% are educated.
Should be higher than that. But.
It should be a lot higher than that, but they're educated and off they go. Well, they're not going to show their face again in that cut.
And it's funny too, thinking back to that time and how the hunts changed, and I think I'm not trying to make this sound negative or anything, but it is a moose hunt now.
It's not a moose shoot.
It used to be, I think, it really was,
look,
a harvest.
Look at the tuna towers.
Yes, that was a great strategy.
Back in the day.
Brilliant.
I mean, people are riding around with tuna towers. We call them tuna towers, but they're pretty much a tuna tower in the body of a truck driving around.
And you still see it sometimes,
And you do, but it's getting less and less.
Yeah, it's rare. It's rare.
You look at, us as the tagging station in Zone 1. When we first started, I think the first year was 2020.
Yeah.
These are just rough numbers. We were probably at 10% recorded. And most of that 10% was ours. Well, last year, I bet we were pushed close to that 50% that was quartered.
Yep.
And what that is the moose have evolved. The people have evolved.
How they're hunting.
And how they're hunting, and they're getting back in. I mean, and there isn't 50-inch moose killed on every road.
Right.
But there still is that opportunity to harvest a successful moose.
Oh, yeah.
And this is going to lead into our conversation of what this whole episode really is behind is your guide is really only as good as your client.
Yeah.
Back 20 years ago, you could ride around in the truck and guarantee a shot at a 50-inch moose.
I can tell you, I think back to when I first got into hunting even. So I turned 10 in 98. And it almost seemed as though like the concept of hiring a guide to do a moose hunt, especially if you were a Maine resident,
It wasn't even thought of.
it wasn't even a consideration. And now, you have Maine residents that hire guides, which it's great.
75% of our guided hunts, whether it's a cow or a bull, are Maine residents.
Correct.
I mean, like this year, for instance, we got 24 guided hunts this year. Mm-hmm. And out of the 24, I can almost say right now, without looking at the schedule, 18 to 20 of them are Maine residents.
Right. And that would have been zero.
Oh, it would.
25 years
It would have been all non-residents.
And so that goes to show, I think, a recognition of the change, and really, it's the hunt it's different. When I think about looking at the history, I got some photos. My father shot an absolute smoker of a bull in 1987, and I've shared the pictures.
That's the pictures you've been sharing over the last, I'd say probably month, like since the moose law, you were sharing some going
random
up.
photos.
And still now, like you look at that stuff.
Yeah.
And like you're talking like back, like when you said with your father, but you're looking at present to the day, the caliber of moose and the quality of moose that you've been a part of harvesting really has not changed over the years.
No, you can absolutely find age class. There's trophy moose. There absolutely is. If that's what someone wants, you can find it. And, so now are they around every corner? No. But it's funny to look at those old pictures because it was, I grew up in a paper mill family. So,
You had all the rope you wanted.
dude, I got more rope. I could drag a moose from Grand Lake Stream all the way back to your lodge in Fort Kent if we really wanted to. I got enough rope to do that. But it's funny, those reels of rope, I haven't taken them for years. And I think part of it too is looking at the Maine moose hunt differently from my perspective, and I can be like an emotional, spiritual guy.
Yeah.
Is the quartering. I love the remote wall tent experience. I just did a little over 5 years of guide work for a known outfitter in northern Maine, and they do like a lot of like hunts out of lodges, and it's great. It's awesome. But we had to transition. I really want to kind of get back to my roots of focusing and doing things in remote camp. And I love that. And, the wall tent, the fire. And then, in my opinion, when you bring the quartering into it, number one, the ability to, and kind of getting a little towards the topic of the day of increasing your odds of success, the quartering aspect for recovery of a moose, it eliminates the concept of limitation of where we go because of that.
Oh, I've had guides be like, well, we weren't going to go there. Listen, you kill it, we'll get it up. And you see that, like, to hit on what you say, like half the hunters in camp and the other guides, like when we're staying out of the wall tents, and usually it's me and 3 other guys, we'll have 4 tags at each wall tent camp.
Yeah.
Like if we send an in-reach message back at 8:00 at night or whatever time, we'll have to look and say, hey, we got a moose down. This is where it is. Within driving time, the hunters, the clients, everybody, we'll have people come from the lodge that find out about it. And before you know it, we might have 20 people there.
Yes.
And they're joining in on it.
And they're excited about it.
It's the experience.
Yes.
And
it adds to it. I'm a firm believer in quartering because I believe it adds, in my perspective, an almost Alaskan element to it.
Well, and I say that like sometimes like when people are calling, asking questions, I'm like, this is as close to an Alaskan hunt as you're going to get without going to Alaska.
Yes,
like,
I would agree with that.
We might be a half a mile in the woods. I don't care where we are. We'll kill the moose. We have the skill. We have the people. We have the manpower. You get 10 people that come to a moose harvest, and we can have that moose from where it is and in frame packs. Each person's carrying a pretty light pack between 10 of us.
Well, there you got one trip out if you have an army like that. And you can do that faster than you can drag one that far.
Oh, 100%. Like I had this conversation with someone today. I can't remember. It was outside of one of the episodes I was talking about there, but like literally an hour. If you get a moose 100 yards, that's an hour to get to the road. If you're
No question.
If you're dragging it. Every 100 yards is an hour.
And especially too, man, like I can share some stories, from, other guides, places I've been worked, like, especially if you got a trophy bull.
The Cape.
I mean, you talk about the ability to mess up a cape, bust an antler, God forbid. Like, I mean, as a guide, I'll tell you right now, if I got a client shoots a Boone and Crockett bull and we snap a couple points off because we're twitching it with a rope around a hitch on a truck, man, you better hope that they're really cool.
Well, and that goes back to like the topic of this. We're saying the guide is only as good as the client.
Well, and that's
in that aspect, the client success and preparation is only good as the guide. Like both got to work hand in hand in that. I mean, and like when people call us, like they'll call me and we'll talk about booking moose hunt.
Yeah,
I tell them point blank, so whether you book with me or you book with Joe Smo or whoever you book with, some of the questions you need to ask are, how do you plan on getting the moose out?
Right.
I said, if you're told like the only recovery plan that they have is they run a rope around its neck and drag it out. Well, if you're fine with 9% of the hair being beat off the front shoulders and the opportunity of an antler, a point being broke off the antler, then that's fine.
Or not only that, hunting based on recovery.
Yes, and that's the other thing. Like it gets brought up, and that goes back to like what I kind of just said. Like, and they asked, "Well, how do we?" I said, "Don't you worry about that. You kill a moose a mile in on the edge of the river. I paddled a moose down the St. John River, and I paddled a moose down the Allagash River. Mm-hmm. You take care of it.
Yeah,
we will get it out of the woods for you. I promise.
You got to do your job and shoot.
Like, the hard part is you pulling the trigger,
finding
making an ethical shot.
Don't worry about like you always joke, the work's going to really begin then. Yes, but there's joy in that. Yeah. I've never had a pack out or a quartering job where it's been bad.
No, you think about it.
Ever.
How many times?
Never bad.
How many times you've been tracking a wounded moose in the dark?
Yeah.
And not recover it or looking for blood or whatever. And like, that's when stuff starts going sideways and the motion starts going. I've never once, like you just said, been 1 o'clock in the morning with a frame with a hind quarter on it, packing out of the woods.
Upset.
And ever been upset about it.
No.
And like, that is where it all goes down. So like you said, like the work begins after for the guide.
Right.
But for the hunter, that's when the work usually stops. Like your biggest job
enjoy this
is be, I don't want to say physically fit, but don't lie to yourself.
Well, I think
like you get hold yourself to that standard. Like if you're not capable of walking a half a mile through the woods, tell the outfitter that when you book. Mm-hmm. Like don't lie to yourself and be like, oh, I can do it. Because if you tell me that you're willing to do that, I'm going to scout for that type of hunting.
Right.
Where if when you show up and you really aren't capable of doing that, well, it's easier for your outfitter to know that beforehand because we can adapt. When we can adapt and change our scouting methods so we're hunting off the road or 100 yards off the road or whatever. Like what are
your goals?
I
think it's all communication. And anyone, if you're booking a guide for a moose hunt in Maine, and I recommend you do, it really does bring so much of the planning out. The amount of work from hiring a reputable guide versus doing a DIY hunt, especially if you're going to try to do the remote thing, is insane. You're going to roll in with your duffel full of clothes and a couple pair of boots and a gun. And, if it's a reputable operation, should be taken care of. And, you're hiring a guide to, in my opinion, maximize your chance of success. Because this is oftentimes a once-in-a-lifetime draw. Maybe not for some of us.
Hasn't even been a once in a lifetime for me, but
I keep pulling them, so sorry.
But sub-permitted next time.
So the communication is so key. When you talk to an outfitter, and we're a few weeks out now, so if you haven't booked one yet and you listen to this and it's still not the season yet,
it's probably too late.
But when you think about that, if you are someone who draws, you really should be getting, whether you're doing DIY or booking a guide or whatever, if you're going to do a DYR and you're going to book a lodge, or if you're going to hire a guide, you need to probably have that done within 7 days of knowing you got drawn. You really do, because there's a lot of guides that offer moose hunts. Some are excellent, some are new, whatever. It's varying, and some are in extremely high demand, and rightfully so. But when you talk to the outfitter, the guide, really have an honest conversation with them and with yourself. It's so important, because you want to maximize your chance for success. And if you have a guide prepping a hunt for you or trying to prep an experience for you, the good ones are going to do that based on what matters to you. So, I mean, I've had hunters, I'll never forget my first ever commercial client. I'll tell you a story. I'm good at that. To this day, dear friends, called me up, or I called him. He was booked through the operation. I got his contact info, do the pre-hunt call. And I'm like, so let's talk, this and that. And he was a very experienced hunter, a lot more experienced, especially at the time, than me. And I was just some young buck, rookie guy,
Ready to set the world on fire.
Ready to set the world on fire. And I call him up, and I can tell he's been through this before. I'm asking him about his physical condition and if he has any major health issues, anything I need to know about, his goals, blah, 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 blah. And he gave me the most honest answer. And to this day, it's one of the greatest hunts I ever had. And he said, I'm going to be very frank with you, Chris. And I'm like, please. And he said, I'm coming with my best friend from college. And they met at Virginia Tech, so we connected over the whole college thing. They met in college at Virginia Tech, and he goes, he and I get together once, maybe twice a year. And when we do, we're like kids back in college again. He goes, I don't actually care if I shoot a moose all that much. But going on this hunt and not having fun will be completely unacceptable to me. And I remember thinking, so think about that. Is that, if you're a guide, is that a client that you should be turning around and yelling at every time they make a little noise?
Them are the clients I want.
They're a dream. They were like back there, like rolling around, messing around, laughing. They tripped each other a couple times. They were throwing stuff at me. And we laughed and hooted and hollered. And at one point, I'm like, look, I don't mean to be a jerk, but this is borderline detrimental to our effort calling this road. We know, whatever. And anyways, we had a great hunt. We ended up calling in a few young bulls. He passed them up, and he shot like a low 40s on Friday afternoon. And it was everything he wanted. We had a blast. He screams at me every year that I haven't come out to visit him. Lives near Yellowstone. Mm-hmm. So I got to go out and take advantage of that.
We'll visit the train station.
Yes, we got to go visit. And so he literally is like, that was the perfect thing, because he was totally honest about what his goals were, what his expectations were, what he wanted out of his hunt. If you're someone who you're like, I want to be in the woods, imagine shooting a 55-inch bull or nothing. Great. Communicate that. Mm-hmm. If you are someone who you're like, look, I'm going to be straight. I just want to get a moose. I'm coming with, my young child. I just want them to have that woods experience, and we can't pound them too hard, and we probably should take a midday break back at the lodge or whatever. A good reputable guide is going to plan on that. We're going to plan where you go, going to plan how you hunt, going to make build. You'll even pack your lunch according to that.
Well, and that's the thing. Like when people call and I'm talking to them, I tell them, listen, I'm telling you what you get.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to sell you something, and when you get here, have it be different, because that's going to make for an awkward weekend camp for you, me, and all the other guests here.
Right.
So one thing in return that I want is I want for you to tell me the truth about you.
Yes.
Because we can take whatever experience you have, whether, like you said, I'm not killing nothing under 50, and my goal for coming there is still a 50 plus.
Right.
Or my goal for coming there is to enjoy myself with my college buddy and have a good time. Well, guess what?
When we'll go hunting, but we're You know,
We're-
we're gonna
we're-
crack a joke
Yeah,
and laugh and whatever.
we're gonna have fun for it. And like in that, like that's where a lot of your hiccup comes. I'm sure you've seen it. I mean, I've been guiding moose hunts for 16 years now and running 4 or 5 a year myself. So I mean, you do the number, like that's pushing 7,500 moose.
Yeah.
And where most of the success, whether it's a do-it-yourself, but mostly in the guiding hunt, is come Tuesday or Wednesday. Now, like you're getting discouraged, you know,
Yes.
it's that. Like
Yes.
when you get a 6-day hunt, it's a hunt of a lifetime.
Yes.
Every day is a new day.
Every day is Monday.
And if you go with that mentality that every day is Monday
Mm-hmm.
and that something is going to happen, you know, and like it's a new day.
Yeah.
When your self-esteem and your morals are up and you're not down in the dirt beating yourself up, guess what? You're not second guessing what you're doing
Yes.
and you're doing what you know best.
And that's a mentorship for guides. You know, I'll tell you right now, you know, I'm a firm believer in what I call the energy of the woods. Because I've seen people who get stressed out that they aren't seeing anything and they're frustrated. And especially, you know, if you're a hunter, you've booked a guide and, you know, sometimes the weather sucks and you might have 2 slow days. And what I think a lot of people make the mistake is they'll just sit on YouTube all day leading up to their hunt. I get there excited.
I'm just as guilty as it is.
And
that.
I do it too.
I mean, I've been watching YouTube videos since a moose drawing for crying out loud.
And so you sit there and you're like, well, I watched all these Big Woods Bucks moose hunt videos and this and that. And, you know, they're all 15 minutes long and they go through a week-long hunt in 15 minutes, shoot a moose on Friday at noon, and you show up Monday. And after one day, if you had a slow day, you're like concerned.
Yeah. Well,
And I see it every single year. And
that-
you gotta just take a breath.
so you nailed it right there. And like these 15, 20-minute videos that are going around YouTube, whether
Yeah.
it's a new state record or it's this or that,
Yeah.
what people aren't seeing are the weeks, not
Scouting.
days, the weeks, the
Scouting.
months prior going into it.
Yep.
And like I had a guy this spring, when he called and was asking, he's like, so when do you start scouting? I said, for what year? He said, well, for this year, when did you start scouting? I said, last October.
Yes, the second.
He said, well, how did you start scouting for that when you didn't know it? I said, listen, when we're in the woods scouting, when we're hunting for moose, we're scouting for next year's. During deer season, we're scouting for next year.
How many times you drop pins of where you see moose while you're deer hunting in November?
And that's the other thing. Like, get back. Nowadays, like all the functions out there and everything available for people.
It's like Onyx.
Onyx is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be going down the road and like,
My state is just red.
well, and that's the thing. Like, we'll be laughing. The hunters are like, well, how much do you get out here and scout or whatever there? And like, we'll just be having a short conversation and I'll press the iPhone button there on the
your
dash,
screen on your dash,
and
yeah.
Onyx will pop up. Zone 1, you can't tell you can tell where zone 1 is because it's all one color and the rest are all different colors.
Right.
And they're like, what are all them? I said, well, that pin was from 3 or 4 years ago, during deer season or whatever. I found sheds here and I gone back and I got pictures, like that there. Like, we're in the woods working for you guys a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I mean, there's one place that my father got drawn this year for September Zone 1.
That's
So
awesome.
the last time he's been on a moose hunt would have been like the old school way of when you ride around
Right.
and you're going to see one from the road. So this year,
You're going hunting.
we're going hunting.
Yeah.
And like I'm anxious and I'm excited for the same aspect.
I'm so excited for you because I'll tell you right now, like, I've been very, very blessed, our family, in pulling tags. But this past year, I had an October permit in 5. Shot a moose Monday, midday, like 12:30. And it was just me and my father together. And dude, it was awesome. And it was we actually kind of kicked it old school because it was my own hunt. I had a wonderful husband and wife that came and hunted, guided hunt for them. I guided them in September and had an amazing week. And so I just focused on that, kind of backburnered my own hunt. And so, dude, we kicked it old school. Like, I wore my old school woolies. I wore 18-inch LL Bean lace-up boots. Like, I didn't have a single trail camera, whatever. Had a few tips from good buddy Eric Poland and stuff. But we went there. And I remember my brother, My brother was driving. Here's a tip for October too, for anyone out there. October hunt, post rut, moose putting on weight, getting ready for winter, feeding. We hunted a piece, saw a massive bull Friday. I was up there with my 8-year-old scouting, saw a massive bull before the hunt. And we were hunting there, obviously, and went in there and saw, I think, 3 cows up in that piece. And hiked over this mountaintop, and we're walking back to the truck, and get to the truck, and we were going to hunt hard until it poured at like 10:45. It started pouring rain. So we get to the truck, and I told my father, I said, listen, we're gonna get in the mobile ground blind here for a little bit and get out of the rain, because it was going to stop by the afternoon.
AKA the truck.
The mobile ground blind. And so we pulled the end of this road, and I had to use the restroom. So I went in the woods to do that. And I happened to catch service right there, and I can hear my truck, bing, 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 when you don't have service,
Yeah.
you do. And my dad's like, I don't know who wants to get a hold of you, but you got 50 messages. They're all from my brother. And he's sending me pictures. Hey, you think this one would do? And he was like 15 miles away and sends a picture of this bull. And I'm like, where is that? And he's like, I'm going to come to the end of the road I know you went in on, because I have no idea how to tell you where I am. So anyways, we get there, meet him, we head over. And he said he thought this bull crossed this road, and he wasn't sure exactly where it went in. He ended up sending me in the wrong place, but it didn't matter. And my father and I went in there, just spotting stock and pouring rain up through this selective cut area. And dude, we managed to glass this bull. Never made one call. Managed to glass this bull down through this, selective cut hardwood ridge area at like 100 yards. And then we like death creeped, just my old man and I. And we snuck up on this bull, and I shot him at 20 yards with my 375 H&H and folded him.
That's it.
And it was the single most like fulfilling like thing. And also too, for my father, like my dad's an OG from like northern Maine and shooting big bucks in the Haynesville woods. And, I cut my teeth hunting up there in the Haynesville woods and around Hodgdon and Holton and southern Aroostook County. And like for him, he actually said, he goes, I got to tell you, man, you're the best moose hunter I've ever seen. Like that was the single greatest.
Yeah.
Like that will probably never be beaten in my mind. And so, dude, like I hope you have that experience with your father. No guiding commercial hunting thing will ever beat that.
No, and like, so last year, my boy got drawn for September.
Yeah.
One bull tag.
Yeah.
My daughter got drawn for October zone 1 cow tag. So like last year, I was there with my boy when he shot his moose at 18 yards Monday night, 42 inches, whatever it was there. Come right in. He shot it there last night, and the whole
show.
team.
Yeah.
Like we stayed out the wall tents, and the clients that were there, they came out, and they already tagged out that morning. And they came out because they want to be a part of it.
How awesome is that when you have that? That's what you want too, those hunters, that full experience.
Oh, and that's what, like, people at first, like, well, wishy-washy, but like they were, they loved it. Like just the people that were there. Mm-hmm. Then my daughter shot her cow last year.
Yeah.
And I was there. It was me, my wife, my son, and my daughter.
Yeah.
And my wife was a subcommittee there. And like that all took place. Like we witnessed all that. And I was like, looking back, I say I want to get a moose. Like I want to tag, but I felt great after coming out.
How
of
fulfilling.
Fulfilling.
Yeah.
And then this year we're at the Moose Lottery in Farmington,
Mm-hmm.
which is my father's hometown.
Right.
I mean, that's where I'm from there. And my father got called. And I remember my boy, like I didn't believe it there. My boy's like, Dad, I'm like, what? He's like, Grandpa got called. I'm like, no, you're crazy. Well, we're driving home. My father calls. My father and my mother were on a road trip, and I think they were down in Nashville at the time.
Okay.
And they were pulled over at the gas station, and they were listening to it on the radio.
Oh, okay.
And he heard his name. So, like, obviously, because, like, that was after the result. So he calls, and I'm like, I don't think so. He's like, well, they're going to be posted online. Well, he looked it up, and sure enough, he was.
Wow.
So I'm like, wow. So, like, this is 2 years in a row.
In Zone 1 September.
In Zone 1 September.
What a draw, too, for you being up there. That's magical.
So like,
yeah.
for me going into it, like,
yeah.
the storyline behind it, and it's, to my knowledge right now, it'd be me, my father, and my brother. And like this, since we moved up here in 2015,
Yeah.
this is the first time me, my father, my brother have been hunting together, whether it's for any animals, and going on 10 years.
That's awesome.
You know, so like
How old's your father?
you put me on the spot here. It's 64.
Yeah, so about
he was
like
born.
mine.
I think
Yeah,
he's
about like
yeah,
mine, yeah.
64.
Dude, that's awesome. That's the best stuff right there, dude. Like, I was just saying, and it's tough for you, I'm sure, because you have a commercial operation,
Yeah.
these logistics, but like, and you know, you have good guides too, so you'll be fine. But like,
I mean,
commit to that. Like, focus on that.
We're staying out to the wall tent.
Awesome.
And I still got 3 parties out of there.
Yeah.
And instead of taking 4 of mine, it's gonna be my father and my brother staying out there.
Yeah.
Well, like what you mentioned about old school, you know, like since day one when I found about this, like I want to go, and like I talked about it with Dad a little bit there and that stuff, and like this is gonna be one of them fun hunts.
Yes.
No pressure. Like,
Nope.
Obviously, there's still gonna be pressure, but
Well, you want to be successful for your father.
we're gonna go to an area where, like, all right, I think this moose might be hanging out in here, and we're gonna go. We're hopefully walk. You know, we're gonna explore and like be able to show them the new ways, the ways that I've had to adapt to the moose hunt compared to the older ways of riding around.
I think I'll tell you, and I'm having heard this from my father, he's going to be so like fulfilled, kind of seeing you doing your craft.
Yeah,
And I think that's one thing that's so great about guiding is if you do get that chance to share that with like, it's like a passing of the torch, man.
it really is.
Because you think about how many years your old man probably dragged your clumsy butt through the woods trying.
6 years
Yeah,
old,
you know what I
maybe
mean?
Red Rider, you know,
Yeah,
going
yeah.
through the woods, following around.
No doubt, you
You
know.
gotta be a
and
part of it.
So it's so cool to see that come full circle. I'm pumped for you. That's the best.
I can't wait. Like that's probably the most exciting hunt that I have for the 2025 agenda.
Well, no, and it's
You know,
it's
and
special. It's personal.
and whether we come out with a 60-inch moose or we come out with a 30-inch moose,
Yeah.
whatever
You won't.
it ain't gonna be about the size.
No.
It's gonna be about the memories and everything that goes into it leading up.
Yep.
And I'm hoping that maybe my brother will be able to bring his oldest boy, and maybe my oldest boy will go. So like we'll have 3 different generations.
That'd be special.
You know, be a part of it.
Do that.
And it's not gonna be, like I said, it's not gonna be about a trophy. It's gonna be about the passing of the torch. You know, going through with it, and like that, to touch on, get back a little bit on topic about what we was talking about. A lot, and this is in my opinion, a lot of the outfitters and the guides out there are so focused on killing that 60-inch moose that they're not passing on the quality, the tradition of the Maine moose hunt.
I think the ultimate. Some people will disagree with this, but I got the mic, so it's going to be.
We're gonna hear about it a couple months
my
afterwards.
perspective. I think the ultimate tell of success for a guide on a moose hunt is if you can guide someone for a week, them not be successful in harvesting, and them leave saying, I had the time of my life. I wish I could do this again next year. And if I could, I would hire you in 2 seconds.
Yep.
Everyone can rebook a client if you shoot a 60-inch bull.
Yep.
You can have dumb luck and smoke one in the middle of a logging road on Monday morning. It's easy to do that. But where your professionalism comes in, your client care comes in, do you truly put in every effort to help them be successful and have the full experience that they wanted? That's the real measure. And I think for clients, I would say a tip. This is something I heard years ago, and I didn't understand it at the time. If you are going to reference check an outfitter, ask for a reference from someone who wasn't successful.
Yep.
Seriously, like
I never thought of it that way, but it's 100% true.
if you can call a former client of a guide operation who didn't get a moose for whatever reason, and you get a story of like, oh my God, you have just don't even hesitate. Book with them right now. Like the story may be they they called in a bull to 42 yards from me broadside and I missed it. It's not on them, whatever. But like if they can share that, it happens. And
and that's one of the things, like, I don't say the screening process, but like when people call us to book,
yeah,
they are drilling us, asking us questions, more or less screening us.
Yes.
Well, when I'm talking to hunters on the other end of the phone, I'm screening them just as much as they're screening me.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I mean, 99% of the hunters that come with us will tell you, if I'll ask them point blank, are you here to kill a moose, or are you here to make memories, enjoy yourself,
Right.
and have an opportunity at a respectable moose?
Right. What are you looking for here?
If you're here just to kill a moose and your main goal is kill a moose, go with somebody else.
Well, it's
We're
it's
not your
culture.
outfitter.
It's culture. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that. That's your goal.
Yep.
That, for sure. I think too, for, people looking to book, I think one of the biggest things is about being honest with your outfitter you're calling. But I'd also say a big thing is to be really reflective, like truthfully, of yourself. And what I mean by that is, and this might seem a little harsh and cold, but if you haven't walked 10 miles in the last 10 months,
You're not in wood shape.
you're not going to walk 10 miles a day on your moose hunt. And so I might not be your guide.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I like to hunt. I cover ground and call. It's just how I hunt. And don't get me wrong, you can tweak that if you know that, but by default, that's how I go and do planning. So if you were to call me, hypothetically, role play here for a second, say, yeah, I want to get back in, whatever, boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna build a plan according to that.
To what I tell you.
And if I can't, and that happens a lot when you have people, you're excited, you're pumped. If you've never hunted Maine before, it's I don't care if you look at the topo map and it doesn't look extremely mountainous. If you've ever walked across there's nothing clear about a clear cut.
No. The only thing clear about it is there ain't a tree left.
You can't see. You can see, but when every step is a high step, you're walking uphill the whole time.
Brush.
Even though it's flat ground. I've had hunters before where we'll walk 2 miles in the woods and we got to stop. And I'm like, why? Their hip flexors are cramping, and they've never walked like that.
We come to a clear cut there, and like I'm glad you mentioned that, because like, you'll come to a clear cut, and like me, I skirt the outside edges.
Yes,
because
it's usually easier walking.
Yeah, there's a brook there that
That's
they
right.
can't cut. So, like,
Sometimes I walk the brook,
and like half the time, like we'll be walking, and the clients will be like, "Well, why aren't we walking across there? That's all flat."
Try it.
I said, "Go for it." I said, "I'll meet you at that back corner, and I'll be sitting in the back there waiting for you once you figure a way back
Right.
to the brook." They're like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "That looks like it's flat, but it's deceiving. It's all hussocks. There's nothing but stumps and blowdowns and brush and that stuff." I said, "A moose barely even wants to walk through that."
Yes.
Needless to say, yourself with 3-foot legs and a moose has got 5-foot legs, you don't want to walk through that. And it's kind of comical, like you'll see that, and then because they're like, "Oh, you're taking me through the thickest, nastiest stuff." No, we're walking the easy walk, and like, you want to walk through that, go for it. But we'll walk around this outside
I'll
edge.
tell you right now, you've ever heard that saying that sometimes you got to take 3 lefts to make a right? That is walking in the moose woods.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? For sure. Especially sometimes walking twice as far on easy ground. It's way better than going through that snot. So, I think big things for those, if you're going on this hunt, you got this once in a lifetime thing. Like, I do really encourage people, like, try to get in shape for it. You do get drawn in June. If you're going in September, October, you can do a lot in a couple months, 3 months. I know it sounds crazy, but if you don't walk, like, make sure you're getting your 10,000 steps a day. Like, I mean, it may sound simple, but you'll be so glad you did it, because, I like to tell hunters, I'm not saying we have to walk all day. We might not have to. I mean, I've had hunts where it's like we move 500 yards in 4 hours because we're working a bull, and we're playing a chess match here, playing the wind, whatever. We don't move far. You don't have to walk all day, but if you need to potentially be able to.
Yeah, if you're not,
If you can draw on it at the moment of need, that is such an asset. And so if you want to like get in physical shape, I'd also say ask real questions around gear. I tell people, I hunt in usually two types of things. I wear old school high leather LL Bean boots soaked in bear grease, or I wear like lacrosse rubber boots. Yeah. Like that's what I wear. There's water everywhere in Maine, stuff like that. They know and listen to it.
And that's one of the things that, like, I'm glad you mentioned that, 'cause that's one of the things I want to touch on, Chris, is like, you don't need a $10,000 Kuiu suit or a $10,000 Sitka suit to kill a moose.
And don't get me wrong, that's great stuff.
Oh yeah, but you don't need that. Like, if you're gonna waste your money and your time and energy on something, invest it in gear. To, like, my opinion, is a good pair of boots.
Yep.
Get Onyx, get an InReach. Get a good frame pack, something that's comfortable. Don't cheap out. I'd much rather cheap out on a set of rain gear that's going to cost me $100,
right,
and have a $300 frame pack that's going to save my back on the trips that I'm making. Like, there's gear out there like you skimp on, and then there's gear out there that you don't skimp on.
Or buy quality ammunition.
Yeah, ammunition. Caliber. Like, if you only got a 223, well, that $3 or $4 grand that you're gonna spend on Sitka or Kuiu or whatever it is there, buy yourself a good 30 caliber or 35 caliber, and prep yourself for that.
Yeah, that's it.
And optics,
right? For sure. I mean, for me, when I get that question a lot around guns, and you just heard me tell a story about shooting a moose with a 375 H&H. You do not need a 375 H&H to moose hunt. I don't have too many excuses to use that big gun, so I'm taking it when I got a moose hunt. But I get that question a lot. I would say, reflect on the firearms you have. If there's something of like a good caliber that you're comfortable using, take that. If you're going to buy a gun for your moose hunt,
buy it in advance. Don't buy it the week before the hunt.
Right. Buy it quickly and shoot it. You don't show up bolting a scope on your gun. I've done it. That's the thing. I've seen it happen. Bolting a scope to your gun at the shooting range Sunday at noon, and your hunt's Monday.
Numerous times.
Taking
the gun out of the box. You never taken out of the only time it's been taken out of the box is when they took the serial number off it to put it in your name.
And I'll tell you right now, things happen with guns. I've had 2 commercial hunters where they had to use. I always bring a rifle or 2, always. And I have had 2 hunters shoot either them. Actually, it ended up being the sub permittee both times, but they shot. Ended up using my gun to harvest their moose.
Oh,
like they showed up to the range, and it was crazy. Guy showed up, couldn't get the gun to shoot to save his life, and like the reticle on the scope had like busted. Don't worry. And I had a 270 Tika they use, and we got one. I had another guy, no joke, father, daughter from Alabama, wonderful people. And we ended up shooting this really nice bull on Wednesday night of the hunt. It was a beautiful bull. And we're driving. We did the morning hunt. It was like 92 degrees. October hunt, midday. Horrible, horrible weather. And we're driving. We're going to go try this other spot. And he goes, Chris, I think we got a problem. And I look over, and I won't mention the brand name, but it was a like high-end custom high dollar company rifle. And he says, look at this. And he could take the scope and wiggle it. The scope base had like rattled out of the receiver. Then he could wiggle the scope like, tuk, 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 tuk. I'm like, you could see it. I'm like, that ain't going to work.
No.
And he goes, no. He goes, what do we do? I'm like, well, I had that 375 with open sights on it. I go, and he joked, he goes, man, I haven't been shot open sights since I was like shooting squirrels with a BB gun when I was like 6 in Alabama, and anyways, he ended up shooting the moose with it. But I would say the biggest thing on guns is, 308s, 30-06s, 30 calibers are great, 270, 7mm. Like, don't overthink it. You don't need
a 338.
You don't need a crazy Magnum. And part of it is people will jump to do that because it is a once in a lifetime thing. They're excited. They think they need it. We aren't in grizzly country. Like, you don't need crazy guns for protection or anything like that. Grandpa's old 30-06 is going to smoke that thing. It's tried and true. Don't mess with it. But I would say this, like, quality ammunition. I probably spend more on bullets than I should. My wife would tell you that. I had a hunter a few years ago. I'll never forget this. This is one of the biggest bulls of my guiding career that would have been. It was a good one. And this bull got spotted by another guide. We went over, he spotted it with a cow, and they were in this water hole. And they went up in the woods, and it's like, he's with this cow. It's just the two of them. The wind is perfect to get in there. You know, you're thinking, go in there raking and grunting. You're probably going to get this thing right here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, So we go, and we get over there. We're almost back to the water hole. Guess who's standing in the logging road? The bull. That cow had come back out, cross the road, was in the water hole on the other side. He's standing there in the road looking at her, broadside. Standing there, looking just like an idiot. We like speed up the road because I'm like, we got to get him out of the road or something. I couldn't believe this was happening. Well, we get way within shooting range, and the hunter's like, I can hit him. Do it. 7 rem mag. Done. And the guy had shown me like videos like shooting. The guy could shoot mule deer at like 400 yards on other hunts. Like the guy was good. He jumped out. First shot, he missed it. The second shot, I think he shot it through the bell, grazed it.
Yep.
Bull spun around 180 degrees and froze. It's like, take your time, bud. Take your time. He goes, yeah. He like calmed down. I'm like, okay, we're good. Click, dud round. Jacks the shell out, slams the bolt shut with the 4th bullet. Click, dud round, back to back.
That's the worst sound anybody can hear in the woods.
And he's like, what's going on? And the bull took off. And it was totally a non-fatal hit. We followed a few drops of blood for,
That's a hard pill to swallow.
Dude, bad. Bad. So I always tell people, like, don't chimp on your ammunition. Don't go crazy on gear you won't need or use. Get in shape. Ask the right questions. Like, you really can do a few things. Spend your money on the right stuff.
Yeah.
That's my biggest things for people when you're booking your hunt. And ultimately, like, you should be excited about it. You should have fun with it. You should. It oftentimes is a once in a lifetime thing. So absorb every second of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
You might see a bunch of beavers out there.
Yeah, I mean.
I was gonna have to mention it eventually.
I know, nice.
But no, it's the moose hunts. It's a special thing. If you have the chance to go, and I would say also to people, commit to it if you can. Take the time from work. Like, don't tell your boss you'll be back Wednesday. Take the week.
And that's the thing. Like, you're going, whether it's a do-it-yourself or you were the guide.
Yeah.
Like, if you tag out Monday and your outfitter says, well, see you later, your hunt's over, you paid for that week.
Oh, I love the hunters that want to hang out. Let's go help some others.
Stay
If you're in
there.
a camp, go bird hunting.
Yeah,
I don't know, whatever.
You didn't pay for a day hunt. You paid for a week-long hunt.
Yeah,
Like, stay there, be a part of it. Take advantage of it. This is more of a tradition. The Maine moose hunt is a tradition.
Yes.
Stay through with it. If it's in October, go grouse hunt.
Yes.
If it's in September and you want to ride around and take pictures of moose that are alive.
Well, it's also the foliage is unbelievable. Like, eat that up. People love that. And I would say too, another tip, maybe one of my final ones here is, if you are like booked at a lodge, like you have a multiple hunters, and a team working, right? Mm-hmm. If you're a hunter and you tag out early, and you're like, hey, listen, like, I want to hang out and like be around this, and especially like if your guide guided you, and like, if I'm guiding for you, and my hunter tags out Monday, I plan to be there for the week, so I might jump on to go hunting with you, and we might go dual call. Yeah. And now we got this. Your hunter's getting a 2-on-1.
Yeah.
And we might do some different strategies. If you talk to your guide, like, we want to come with you, I just would say, like, do that, have that full experience, but also realize they're still working a little bit.
And respect
Respect
the other hunter.
that, like, if they say to you, absolutely, listen, we're going to do this hunt here. Why don't you guys sit here and watch this cut? You got an in reach. I got an in reach. You might get a little assignment, and people they eat that up. They love it. But I've also seen situations where that's happened where, like, the person's like, yeah, I'm into it. And then like 10:30, they're like, you know what? I think I'm good. I'd like to head back to the lodge. Well, we're 50 minutes out in zone 2.
Yeah. And that's one of the things where
It's like taking you back and then getting this person back in the game is 3 hours.
And
that's so know that and be supportive.
And that's one of the things, like, I tell them, I said, listen, when, like, say someone says something like that, it's okay. Now, for 5 minutes, put yourself in this guy's shoes.
Right.
You've tagged out. Your hunt's over. Now you're along for the fun.
Right.
How would you be if you weren't the guy that was tagged out and you had 2 guides working for you, but now you want to go back to camp or you want to end this?
Right.
How would you feel?
Right.
And 9 times out of 10,
they're like, yeah, good point.
Brings it around. They're like, okay, yeah, we'll sit back here in the truck, because they don't want to be there for the dull, but they want to be there.
Well, they want it. Oh, someone got a moose. Let's go see what it is. Yeah, they love that. I get it.
For the pack, the camaraderie, and like all that stuff, which that's fine. But if you want to be there for that and you're gonna be there all day, you got to take a chance at being there. All day. I mean, we've covered such a wide variety,
a lot of stuff. We should do 20 of these.
I see. And the biggest thing, like, I guess I would, for people that have listened this far through and want to take away what we're talking about, to me, the biggest thing, like, if you're going with an outfitter, be honest with your outfitter.
Yes.
Don't sell yourself short and don't cheat yourself, because all that's going to do in the long run is end up hurting your success of your hunt.
And communicate through the week.
Yes.
Hey, listen, I got to tell you something. When we came over that log back there, I did something to my back. That things happen.
Because if we
don't not tell your guide that.
No, because we don't know it, we're gonna run you in the dirt,
right?
Like, not intentionally,
but it'll happen. It's like, hey, listen, because especially if it's a hot day, we said, listen, we're gonna go over here by this water hole I know, and we're gonna call all afternoon, see if we got a bull down in here trying to stay cool, because we know late week the weather will be better. Yeah. Let's focus our energy there. We'll make those calls. Communicate. I think it all stems back to that.
And like Wednesday, if you're getting to the point, if I'm guiding you and you get to the point, say Wednesday, and you're like, man, Brennan, you run me through the ringer. Like, I'm not going to be good for another couple days. Well, guess what? I'd much rather go back to the lodge or go back to the wall tent, have you take Wednesday afternoon off, and rest, relax, do whatever you got to take and do. We'll go out Wednesday night and be able to hunt Thursday, Friday, Saturday if need be, then wear yourself out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Right.
Then crunch time, Thursday, Friday,
you
Saturday,
can't go.
You can't go.
Right.
Like, say that, because, like, as guides, we can look at.
You usually have 2 great killing days in a week of moose hunting, and they might be Friday and Saturday.
Or it might be Monday and Saturday.
Yes.
It's one of them things, like, weather depending and everything else going into it. Like, and as the guides, like, a lot of that, I mean, I don't want to say we're mind readers, but, like, usually we can look going into, like, the weather week, like, okay, these 2 or 3 days are going to be the days. These 2 or 3 days are going to be a wash. Well,
and sometimes I'll joke, I'll laugh. I'll tell my dad these stories. I'm like, yeah, I pulled over and, we walked in here and I did some grunting and raking just to make it look good.
Yeah.
But you laugh, but it's like, sometimes you're getting through time so that you can be in your best position when it really matters. Yep. And, it's funny that when I told you the joke when the father used my 375 and they shot that bull Wednesday night, they took Tuesday afternoon off because they probably walked more than they realized, and they were ground into the pavement. And I'm like, look, I'm like, listen, we can do that. And they were like relieved by it. They were great. They showed up Wednesday, charged up, and they shot a smoker Wednesday night. And so it's absolutely right. Like, but talk to your guide about that stuff.
That was like, so when my kids both got drawn this year, we said, it's their hunt. We're going to do what they want to take and do. Well, September rolls around. This is the first day of the moose hunt. Me and my boy and my wife met us out in the woods, and we were there, and we had quite a bit of very good interaction, just couldn't seal the deal. Well, my wife had to go back because the tagging station was open.
Yeah.
So me and my boy are going to plan B to check that out. Well, we get there, and as we get there, my inReach goes off, and one of the guides had shot a moose, and we was only like 5 miles from there.
Right.
And I looked at Luke. I'm like, "What do you want to do, bud? They shot a moose. They need help. Like, do you want to stay here and hunt?" He's like, "No, Dad, let's go help them."
Well, that gets spirits up though.
We closed. My boy at 12 years old closed his hunt opening day, like 3 hours, 4 hours into it. We go and help them get the moose out, and then we go to this one place and we walked for like 2.5 hours, probably 4 miles. I walked him, and it was quite brutal. And I looked at him. I said, "So, look, what
You're
do you want
doing
to do?" Yeah, like we get back to the truck. I'm like, "Do you want to go back and have lunch, take a nap, and then we'll go out this afternoon?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, I'm kind of tired, Dad. I'd like to do that." So we went back to the wall tents, we cooked hamburgers or whatever we cooked there, took a nap in the wall tent. 4 o'clock, we wake up. And he wakes me up and he's like, "Dad, you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, "I've been, speaking to you for the last hour or two and I weren't going to push you." He's like, "All right, so let's go." So, like, we left, we went to this first spot, and you can't make this stuff up. And there was one spot that we walked, and I was like, "I want to go back in here tonight. The wind's right, and call because like I think they're in here." Well, we get there, and the wind is just absolutely wrong.
Every direction.
Every direction.
Yeah, oh,
So,
yeah.
like, I pull up Onyx, like God's honest truth. We pull up Onyx on the screen of my truck, and I told Luke, and like it was zoomed in to like a mile here, like a mile square. And I said, "Pick a spot on there you want to go, and that's where we're gonna go and hunt tonight." He looks around, and he's like, "Well, how about we go over here?" And there's a little winter road. I'm like, "Okay, I've never been down that road before, but let's go."
Wildcat. Let's
So
run it.
we drive down there and we get to the mouth of the road, and the wind is like kind of perfect. There's a bog in the back, and like just like picturing where moose would be. Like you figure, okay, this be a pretty decent setup. So we park there. We walk up in the road, go 100 yards in the woods. First call, cow, boom. And the bull's grunting, and they're coming in. And there's another bull, and like coming in. Long story short, he ended up shooting that moose. But he killed a 42-inch moose Monday night, and I kid you not, that was like the most relaxed,
Chill. Yep.
carefree hunt
Yep.
there was. And if I'm being honest, we probably didn't hunt more than 3 hours.
Well, and you also
The
are like,
whole
I
day.
guess we'll try that.
And it was just like one of the things, like pick a spot on the map.
Yes.
Like, and he's gone with us. So like he has his, well, he used to use my Onyx account. Okay. So this has all come around last fall. And at the time he had my Onyx account. Well, there was some friends of ours that got drawn that rented a cabin off from us. And we get back from camp, and it's after Luke tagged out. And we're having a few beers there sitting around the fire. And he's like, "I feel like I should tell you this, Brandon." I said, "What's that?" He's like, "Luke told me he's going to sell me some Onyx pins." And I just started laughing. Like, yeah, whatever. He's just full of it. He's like, "No, I'm serious."
No, he's not joking.
I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "He told me for $100 he'll sell me 2 pins where you got cameras of these moose." And I'm like, "He don't know where they are." He's like, "Oh yeah, he showed me an Onyx." And I just like kind of blew it off. Weren't really paying attention. Well, the next night the same thing comes up, and I'm standing there, and Luke walks up to him and says something. They disappear there, and Luke pulled him aside, and they're talking about it. And Jay come back over. He's like, "Well, he told me if I'm desperate now, it's 200." I'm like, "How is he doing this?" He's like, "He showed me an Onyx." Then it dawned on me. He was signed in to my Onyx account underneath
Peddling dad stuff.
peddling all Dad's waypoints. I'm like, this is where it stopped. Where he got his own elite membership after that. Like, this is where it stopped. I mean, the kids
All right.
running around.
I know who I got to go talk to.
Like, it was hilarious. And like literally, like I didn't tell him that we knew about it.
Right.
Like, I changed my password there, and he went on and got his own account after.
I love it.
11 years. He was 11 years old at the time.
I love that.
And he got his own thing. He's like, "Dad, why ain't this working?" And I'm like, "Luke, like, were you trying to sell my Onyx pins?" "No, I wouldn't do that, Dad." I'm like, "Don't lie to me." He's like, "No." And like it got into the little thing, and like Jay's sitting there, and I won't forget it. He looked right at Jay, and this coming from an 11-year-old, and this Jay is, if I had a late 40s, early 50s. He looked at me and said, Jay, snitches get stitches."
Dude, this kid is a riot.
I just started laughing. I'm like, "Look, so you was peddling my Onyx pins, Jay. Me and you need to have a discussion," he says. It was like the whole camp. I mean, there was probably 20 some odd people.
I love
the
that.
The whole camp just like blew up over this little
These 2 Onyx pins.
these 2 Onyx pins, which honestly, knowing him, they probably were, because I mean he's with us 24/7. So like,
Yeah.
the difference between them. But
I love
that.
that.
It was just kind of funny, like how that all come about. But so we covered for like the guided hunts.
Yeah.
Now, like for the do-it-yourself guys out there that aren't hiring a guide and haven't
Yeah.
hired a guide, like to me, as an outfitter, as a guide, as a moose hunter, my my 5 things in my gear bag that I would say I don't go in the moose woods without would be Onyx is number one.
Yep.
A nice, like, for me, it's Alps frame pack.
Yep. I use Alps
Frame
too.
pack.
Yep.
A good pair of lacrosse road boots.
Yep.
A good pair of leather hiking boots. And good rain gear.
Yeah, that's a great.
Those, like, for me, to make me comfortable, my feet, dry clothes, and a nice bag.
Yep. I would certainly agree with that. I mean, for me,
And, like, for Onyx, and people that don't use Onyx or don't know about it, where like we are, where there ain't cell phone service,
download
your
maps.
maps. Don't show up.
That's a big thing. Is download maps before you go. That's big. I think for me that gear list has shifted over the years. For me, I absolutely like Onyx, some type of imagery type stuff, in reach, communication, definitely a pack frame. I would say another thing for me, these replaceable blade knives now, I mean, whatever brand you want to, I mean, I use Havalons, I think. Yeah, I like the pink ones because no one ever tries to steal my knife.
The blades are all the same.
They really are.
Just tweaked a little
Right.
bit.
So, like, I like the pink Havalon because it's easy to find and easy to see. And my girls think it's funny that has a pink knife. But for sure. And I would say, like, if you are doing the DIY thing, you probably want to do some scouting. I think the biggest first thing you should do is learn at least access and like road system. If you're going to take a trip up and just bomb around to know these are the boundaries of our zone, whatever, going up August 1st, or actually usually even people get drawn for the lottery June 24th. We're going scouting tomorrow.
I mean, I've seen people up there like the week after the drawing.
Sometimes it's like, it's not a bad idea at all. It's not a waste of time. But if you're gonna go thinking you're gonna spot this one bull in velvet feeding on these lily pads,
he's not gonna be
in the water, and pin that, we got to hunt this bog. Like, he may not be there. But if you're just looking to understand the road system, whatever, I would say if you're gonna do the wall tent thing, the biggest thing for me when it comes to remote camp, if I don't sleep, I get sick, for me personally. So I strongly encourage you, buy a good cot, get a bag, get
good pad,
get, like a sleeping bag, bring a couple pillows. I bring a battery powered DeWalt fan. Like, I need a fan, like all this stuff, like
luxury. You're glamping. You ain't
listen, man, I'm getting my batteries charged. I would say have a plan for drying things out. Your propane buddy heater is not going to dry your gear out.
Nope.
So provisions for a wood stove. If you're getting a wall tent, I would say I don't care if you're running an Alaknak type Cabela's tents. Those are popular, or a Davis or whatever the brands
Davis,
are.
White Duck,
I always tarp tents, always, because I don't care how many times you've been on a moose hunt where it's like it rains for 6 hours as hard as it can, and you end up there's a seam that seeps, and it's coming in,
and it's coming right where you are.
Right where you are. It never leaks in the corner where no one is. It will only leak where someone's head is.
You're going to get back and want a nice, warm, dry place to lay down, and your sleeping pad,
right
your sleeping
there.
bag's going to be soaked.
It's going to be floating. Your pillow's going to be floating in your cot. So really prioritize, like, the ability to dry stuff, tarp your tents, and invest in, like, sleeping gear. I think those are some of the most important things you can do, because if you go on this hunt and you can't rest, that'll grind you, because the September hunt, dude, it's like 13 and a half hours of hunt time. If you're going to hunt legal, full dark to dark, they're long days. Yeah. And that grinds people. They aren't ready for that.
I mean, it's 80, 90 hours of grueling hunting.
potentially just being up that long.
It's 100 hours, really, if you think about it. If you're
Yeah.
up a couple hours before, a couple hours after, it's
Right.
100 hours.
And
You're up.
you come back, you're eating dinner, you want to hang out, you got the campfire, especially doing that remote thing. You want that full experience. But that full experience probably takes you in to actually have the campfire and talk.
Yeah.
You're going to be up till 10.
Yeah.
And you're going to be there. Wow, if I lay down right now, I got 4.5 hours of sleep. So, but yeah, I think those are the big things. Make sure your truck's in good working order. You want some tire plugs. Make sure you got 10-ply tires. Bring an extra spare. Those types of things. If you can get those few things right, when I think about the DIY hunts where I've seen people go home early or have a miserable time, it's usually some type of unanticipated truck issue or some type of like failure at camp.
Gear malfunction.
And it's usually a tent thing. A gun break-in, someone will have a gun.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No one carries an extra wall tent.
No one carries an extra wall tent. So stay dry. Be ready to dry things out, and you'll those few things. And if you can sleep at night, you'll be in great shape.
100%. So we've in the last hour and a half,
However long.
I've lost track now. But whatever we've been talking for, we've discussed and covered a large wealth of experience, recommendations, and acknowledgement, and
hard earned and not perfectly executed along the way to be able to share this perspective.
99% of our success has come from our failure.
Like, so listen, do this because trust me, I didn't.
Yeah.
Most of it.
100%. And that we'll go touch on that just for one more second. Like, to me, my feet.
Yes. Take care of your feet.
If my feet are comfortable, I can walk 100 miles without an issue.
Yeah.
And like, everyone has their own preference, and it depends on the weather and that stuff. Like, if it's wet, soggy, I wear the lacrosse boots. But if it's dry and I know I'm going to be up high, I'm a sneeze guy.
Yeah.
Give me a pair of sneeze granite, and I can run 1,000,000 miles all day long. My feet are comfortable. Everything's good. I get the support and all that stuff. And like, it took me quite a while to go from buying the $30 Herman Survivors or whatever you call them at Walmart and going through 2 or 3 pair a season, and my feet were blistering and hurting till that first time I took that lunge and I bought that $400 pair of these boots. Well, guess what? That one pair of boots I get 3-4 seasons out of, and it's like wearing a pair of slippers.
I also would say I do spend a little more than I should at times, but I'm a big firm believer in 2 pairs. So you always have a dry one.
Yes.
So if you go get sweaty all day, take them off, boot dryer. I have a portable boot dryer for my truck. Dude, you got to get this.
I didn't even know
it's like a cord that plugs in, and like the cord comes up and splits, and then they're 2 little, like, they look like mice.
Yeah.
And you just burrow them down in. So, dude, big thing is letting your feet air out. So I get back to my truck if I'm guiding moose hunt. I'll dump my boots right there. I put them in the back seat on the floor. I put my little boot dryer in, so I'm using maximum amount of time to dry it. Yeah. And I throw my Crocs on. That's how I drive back to camp.
I was gonna say 9 times out of 10, if I ain't walking, I got my Crocs.
Yes. So that's another tip. I'd say I swear I got that thing for like $17.99 on Amazon. I'll send it to you.
So send me the link and I'll have to look it up. I didn't realize that
Pro tip: have the ability to always have dry footwear. So it might be 2 pairs of boots so that you wear one Monday, one Tuesday, you alternate so you can always dry. Guiding, I always do that because to your point, if you pound your feet up, you get some wicked blisters, you're going to be miserable.
And like day 13, 14 to us.
Oh, yeah,
that's
guiding.
14 days in a row guiding. To the average Joe Smo, when they show up, that might be day 2 or day 3 for them.
Right.
But that's week 2 for us. Like, we have to be able to do that to stay comfortable, to keep the quality.
How many times have you been in the woods for basically a week when your hunters get there on Sunday? Because you've been out scouting, you've been out, it's always
like, it's like that's the everyday thing, for us. Like, we're not there on Sunday when you get there. Like, we're there a week before. I mean, we live there, so we're there years before. But all right, we'll wrap this up.
We'll schedule round 2 postseason.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do a postseason
update.
How
it goes. I'm going to Zone 5 in September, it looks like, and I'm going to be in Zone 9 in October. And so we'll look forward to. I'd love to come back if you'll have me. If you haven't decided to kick me off the island, and maybe we can debrief on how the season went. I'd love to hear how your father's hunt goes.
No, like debrief on that, and maybe it'd be even a point for some of the people that have listened into this to give us some feedback on some of the stuff that we've said or recommended or whatever there, and just see how it worked for them.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
Awesome.
Well, with that being said, if you're listening to this and you're taking any of the tips or the advice that either me or Chris have given you tonight, and it gives you success in your upcoming moose hunt this year, whether it's a do-it-yourself or a guided hunt, be sure to reach out, give us your feedback, and we'll have a part 2, a post moose hunt, and discuss maybe some of the questions and the answers and how our hunts went, themselves there.
Yeah.
And until then, thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Brandon. It was a joy to be on here, and thank you for hosting us down here.
And until next time, thanks for watching another episode of Through the Eyes of a Maine Guide. Look forward to hearing all the comments and seeing the stories and everything about your fall's upcoming hunts. Until then, make sure you hit subscribe, follow along, and tell us how you like it.